Hello again. The Scottish Government under Humza Yousaf has produced a document called Citizenship in an Independent Scotland. This sets out his vision for immigration to Scotland if he gets his way. Humza Yousaf says in a tweet today, which I give a link in the description to this video, in our paper published today, we propose an open and inclusive approach to citizenship in an independent Scotland, one that welcomes people who want to settle in Scotland, rather than putting barriers and excessive fees in the ways of individuals and their families. Welcoming people who want to settle in Scotland is code for throwing open the borders and allowing all the world and his brother to come and live there. Of course, Scottish citizens have a right to live and work in England too, and even if Scotland became independent, that right would continue to exist. It would be a similar situation to Ireland, where the citizens are free to come over to this country to live and work. This means that any policy which Scotland were to adopt for increasing immigration would also mean loads of people applying to settle in Scotland and then making a beeline for London once they had their feet under the table in Glasgow. Of course, Humza Yousaf's parents are Pakistani immigrants, so it's hardly surprising that he is so keen on open borders for Scotland. I've remarked before that I find it slightly curious that a man born of Pakistani parents should be the head of the Scots Nationalists, but then the leader of the Labour Party in Scotland is also born of Pakistani parents. That really is a striking coincidence when you come to think about it. About 1.5% of people in Scotland are Muslim, so if this is just random chance, then the odds would be 66-1 against the leader of one of the major political parties in that country being Muslim. The odds against the leaders of two of the main political parties in Scotland both being Muslims is considerably higher, at least 4,356-1. That's 66 times 66. Now those are quite long odds. Most of the Muslims in Scotland are recent immigrants, having arrived only in the late 20th century. Perhaps this explains why neither Humza Yousaf nor Anna Sawwa, the Labour leader, chose to marry Scottish women. One chose a Pakistani and the other a Palestinian. The implications for this situation are that Labour traditionally held most parliamentary seats in Scotland until the rise of the SNP. So even if the SNP do badly at the next elections, it will be Labour which benefits rather than the Conservatives. No matter how people vote in Scotland, they're going to end up with the First Minister of Pakistani ancestry rather than somebody whose family have historic roots in the country. Is it likely that a man who took the oath of office as a member of the Scottish Parliament in Urdu is likely to be as attached to Scotland as somebody whose family have lived there for centuries? Although I don't see this in terms of a conspiracy, it is odd enough to be worth thinking about, especially since London, Ireland and the United Kingdom itself all now have leaders whose families are from Africa and Asia. Again, this might be purely the operation of random chance, but the odds are very much against that hypothesis. It looks as though men whose families emigrated to this country no more than 50 or 60 years ago and all have their origins in the Indian subcontinent are, to put it bluntly, running most of the British Isles. I do not say that this is a bad thing, but that it is a thing seems to me to be indisputable.